I want to talk next about a concept around how you should think about structuring and building your business. For many entrepreneurs, you've gone through the stages of entrepreneurship and the E-Myth stages of first being a technician, then going to a manager, and hopefully then stepping into the role of entrepreneur or founder. And that role is basically when you graduate from just doing the doing work to then kind of like designing the doing of the business and designing the processes of the business and designing the people of the business and putting everybody in the right places. And so there's a concept of building the system of your business, and building the system of your business is really about how do I make sure I have the right people in the right place in the business and those right people doing the right jobs. Jim Collins, in an excellent book called Good to Great, talks about getting the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and then once you've got the right team, putting them in the right seats. And so this is basically what we're doing here. We're building the system of our business, not just a business that is me plus 20 assistants helping me get my work done. And you would see this quite often with lawyers, with accountants, with professional services businesses in particular, where the business owner is basically like the whole business. And if they disappeared, the business would completely fail. And so I want you to do a bit of a visualization exercise when you think about building the system of the business. I want you to think about yourself as the CEO of a publicly traded business. Think about what the CEO of a publicly traded business does. Well, number one, they are replaceable. And what that means is that you can take out that CEO and you can place in another CEO to take their place. And basically, I want you to think about yourself as that. If I was taken out of the business, how would it actually run? What things would I need to have in place to be outside the business? Now, I love holidays and I love adventuring and traveling and all of those things. And one of the things that I love is every time I travel and I'm away for the business for a period of time, things start to go wrong. And every time things start to go wrong when I'm away, I learn something new that I need to change or fix or create a process around or have work differently so that I can be away from the business, so that I am replaceable in the business. Now, this requires a little bit of ego work, obviously, to be comfortable, to be away from the business, and for you to be able to be comfortable to trust the team. And we're going to get into that in a couple of moments. But this skill of thinking about, okay, well, if I'm a consultant to the business, how would I act? If I wasn't intrinsically linked to the heartbeat of the business, and maybe instead I'm the gardener, watering the garden of the business. I'm nearly out of metaphors, guys. Hopefully you're getting it. How would the business have to look? So I like to think of myself as a consultant or a publicly listed CEO of a business. It doesn't mean that I absolve myself of the responsibility of what has to happen in the business, but it does mean that I can at least step out of the business. So a big part of stepping out of the business is being able to actually trust your team and make sure that they are, able to get their jobs done without you micromanaging or completely hovering over them. And trusting your team is, probably one of the biggest challenges over time of letting things go, because I've found in my experience that it is a constant daily practice of letting go, of releasing, of surrendering, and you can talk about all of the spiritual type stuff about being in the moment and letting go and those kind of things. But really it's about building a team who work together. And building a team who work together cannot be ruled by a tyrant leader. They have to actually be empowered, not controlled. Really this is a part of internally you doing the work, being able to be happy with others, completing tasks, and being okay that people are not going to do it perfectly, and being okay that people are never going to do it to the standard that you do it. It's just, not the way that it happens. But this also requires discipline as well. It requires discipline that if you're finding that right now you are the bottleneck in your business, in that customers come to you for absolutely everything and things have to go through you before they get passed on to your team, well, there's a process of you actually taking off that hat and directing and routing customers to get support or help or service or whatever it is that they need from your team instead of just from you. And so that's really a matter of, again, letting go, but trusting that your team can actually do the job. So something that I like to share with business owners who are having challenges delegating and having challenges trusting their team is technology-assisted trust. And technology-assisted trust really is a bit of a way of cheating, right? we all like the idea of training our team and putting all of our love and effort into them so that they can be little clones of us and do things exactly the way that we would do them. But that's not actually the reality. Number one, no one's ever going to do things exactly the way that you're doing them because they don't hold the shares in the company and they're just not going to be as unique and precious as you and the way that you do things. So it's about time you just kind of like accept that fact. Next up, there are ways that the team will do things in their own unique way, which are going to be different to how you do them. And what's most important for you to decide is, as a team and as a business, what is the best way to do this? What is the best way for our company to do this? What is our company's way to complete a particular task or a process? And that could be a process for anything. It could be how you answer the phone. It could be how you respond to emails. It could be the way that you do a project. It might be the way that you launch a brand or launch a new product or do your marketing or do your advertising. And building that way and actually documenting the way is your role to lead as a business owner. Doesn't mean you have to write every single system and process in your business, but it does mean that you're the one who needs to lead the architecting of how your business actually works. Now, once you've actually done that, and this should be a collaborative effort with your team, and that's how I believe things should work, bring in your team's talent, bring in your team's ideas, all work on how things are done the way with your whole team. Well, once you've got the way, then we can bring in some technology-assisted way. And what I mean by that is we use technology tools that are actually going to help you ensure that the way is stuck to the way. Particularly as your team scales and you go north of 15 or 20 people in the business, you will not be able to watch over everyone's work. And what that means is you'll need a way of ensuring that work is done well. Now, I've got two tools that I'm going to share with you which really help particularly growth businesses to keep things in order as you grow and scale. Number one is a shared mailboxes product called Hiver, and this actually plugs straight into your Gmail account and it helps you create shared labels that multiple team members can see. And so these shared labels allow different people in different teams to share a mailbox, and that might be help@yourbusiness.com, it might be support@yourbusiness.com, it might be sales or orders@yourbusiness.com. But these shared mailboxes can be seen by everyone. Now, not only can they see everything that's in there and they can see who's replied and those kind of things, which is very useful, but you can also do things like put notes on your tasks. And this is one of the absolute key things that early business owners really need to get right, which is removing yourself as the bottleneck and the key person of contact for your customers. You've got to move your stuff over to your team so your team can help manage it, and then you manage just the things that your team can't handle. One of the things that I love about this tool, Hiver, is that it actually allows you to have customer service scores built in, so your customers can always be constantly providing feedback on how things are going. And there's also things like reporting around which team members are handling how many requests and how fast they're responding to customers and how long it's taking for customer queries to get managed. And all of those can basically be piped into your KPIs for performance management when you get further on down the line. Once you've built a more sophisticated team and you've got the ability to start doing performance management and you really want to, move the needle on how you're delivering to your customers, having a data-based approach where what's the average amount of time it takes us to respond to a message from a customer? What's the average amount of, customer happiness that we have? How well are we delivering to our customers? Which customers are repeatedly having issues? And, let's run a report on those issues and see, are these, improvements that we need to make in our processes so we can deliver to our customers? And all this data just comes from a shared system like this for doing customer service, and I recommend this to all businesses. Second up, you need a customer relationship management system. And Copper is a relational CRM, which means that it's really focused on building great relationships. A lot of CRM systems are, pretty boring. It's really just about collecting data on, I called this person on this day, blah, blah, blah. It's a bit more cumbersome to kind of like enter the data in there, and not many insights come from it. Whereas with Copper, there is an excellent integrated interface right inside your Gmail, and inside your Gmail, you will actually have all of the information on your customers. So that might be project information, it might be deals that you've got going with them. It's automatically going to bring in their LinkedIn data and all of their company data, because it actually uses AI and other data sources to suck in all of the customers' data, so you don't have to do like all the manual data entry. And the best thing that I love about Copper is it allows you to set up little schedules for keeping in touch with customers. And so if you're using it to build relationships, there's lots of really amazing relationship tools in there. And you can run a report, for example, that says, show me all the customers who haven't had contact from our team in the last 90 days. And that would be the list for your team to start with to reach out to customers and ensure that they're engaged and make sure that the relationship is kept there. The other thing you can do is you can say, well, for a certain group of VIP customers, maybe I want to reach out to them once a month, or have, even better, somebody else reach out to them once a month. You can actually set a recurring task which will automatically pop up if there's been no activity for more than 30 days, then automatically reach out to this customer. So all those little things work really nicely, and they are just 2 tools out of many that we are able to help small business owners with, to help you with technology-assisted trust in making sure that your processes are well supported so they're actually delivered well when you can't check absolutely everyone's work. Now, before you go and sign up to those programs yourself, please go ahead and check out our team, have a chat to our team, because we have discounts and promos available for each one of those tools. And when you buy it through us, obviously it helps us, doesn't cost you any extra, and we may even be able to help you out with saving some money. And of course, we've got professional implementation services if you're interested in that as well. So our next tip to cover is delegation, and this is the good old skill of delegating and getting things off our plate. Now, for many business owners, because we want to do a really amazing job, we end up as a little bit of control freaks, and I totally get that. I'm the same. Building the muscle of delegation is absolutely critical so that we can build an organization. We need to build a business, and the definition of a business is something that can work without you. I mean, technically, I'm not sure if I even still have a business, because, you know, at times I'm still pulled into the business, and I still do a couple of days a week of meetings and, you know, helping lead things. I guess while I'm in the role of CEO and not in the role of silent partner or just shareholder, I'm always going to be, you know, having some kind of role in the business, and you need to see yourself in the same way. Yet, you shouldn't be doing anything that is worth less than your billable hours time. And so we need to be building the structure of an organization, and we need to be ready to start letting go of control. Now, remember I said earlier that we don't want to let go of responsibility, but we do want to start letting go of control. And I want you to be careful with this, because for many business owners that I've shared time with, they've said, well, I don't quite trust my team to do things well. And I completely understand that. I've gone through periods of not being able to trust my team at all with being able to do things. I've even delegating things and then had to take them back because I didn't like how things were done, or there was a big mistake and I felt bad about it, and I wanted to then get my teeth stuck into controlling the process. However, that's not the best way for you to do things. And so what I want to share with you today is a process for delegating. This is called the 5 stages of delegation. And I apologize that this image is a little bit blurry. We'll try and fix it up for the YouTube video. But the 5 stages of delegation is the process for you to take your team from you doing everything to your team doing everything. So you can see here, pretty straightforward. First, I do it, right? Then second is I do and you watch. Third is we do it together. Fourth is you do it and I watch. And fifth is you do it. Now, I'll give a little bit more kind of flavor to this in my own way as well. Number 1 is I do it and I just basically do it myself. Now, that may be things like, oh, gee, there's not that much that I do myself. No, well, I would say, no, I don't think there's much that I absolutely by myself do. Maybe approving the payroll. That's one thing that I do by myself, is actually hitting the go button in paying out money out of the bank account. There you go. But the next stage is I do and you watch, and that's basically the first stage of training. So the second stage is I do, you watch, and that's basically the first stage of training, where someone else is watching you do it and they're beginning to be engaged in the process of you doing something. Third one is we do it together, so we collaborate on doing it. Fourth one is you do it and I watch, and I'm going to provide comments and make sure it goes okay. And then finally, you're going to hand it over to someone to just do it themselves. Now, I would say be careful with you do with level 5 delegation, because we don't want to go into the stage of abdication, which is you do and I forget about it. It should be you do and you report back to make sure that I know that it's done. And only really when you're completely reached the comfort level of someone else completely taking something themselves, that's when you can just know that it's done. And from time to time, do a little bit of a check-in. I'm a fan of walk the floor style of management, even though we all work remotely. And what I mean by that is, from time to time, doing a little bit of a check-in. I love to join my team's huddles every now and again, just randomly jump in and check in and see how they're doing. Next up, I like to, from time to time, read the reports of my different teams to see what's happening. Sometimes I'll jump in and I'll ask a curious question and, see who's got the answers to that. One of the examples that I love is of one of our customers, actually, Zambrero, the previous CEO, Stuart Cook, who's a friend of mine. would actually go and work on the front line in one of his stores at least once a year for a day. And what that meant was he would see how the systems were being done. He would see how people were doing things. He would see the culture right on the front line of an organization, which is now hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every year. Absolutely love that story. So that's the 5 stages of delegation. Remember not to rush through them. Take your time. And I would also recommend when you have your team involved in the process, ask for their feedback. Hey, how are you going? Right now, I think we're up to stage 3 in this process. How do you think we're doing? Do you want to, stick around on stage 3 for a little bit longer? Or do you want to move along into stage 4? Make sure that this is a collaborative process with your team. Now, how can we help? If you're a business owner and you're wondering, how can I help to work on some of these things and some of these areas in my business? Well, the first thing that we can do to help is take you through the growth roadmap. No matter where you are in business, our team are available to help you on your business journey. We work with sole operators right up to large organizations in the hundreds and even thousands of employees. We also have a sister company which helps businesses in the larger side of things with their specific practices around security and consulting at that level. Now, if you're interested in working with our team on going through a growth roadmap session, then just reach out and we'll be able to help you out with mapping out what things do you need to focus on at this stage of business. There's hundreds and thousands of business tools and business strategies to do with technology, and we want to make sure you're focusing just on what we know is important to move you to the next stage of business growth and business success. Now, we also have a transfer in offer. If you're an existing customer of Google Workspace, you can transfer your billing to us for free. Now, this doesn't cost you any extra. You pay the same amount that you would pay Google for your Google Workspace account, but you get access to amazing benefits. Number one, we've got a Google Classroom built specifically for you to onboard and get your team onboarded with everything to do with Google Workspace. And so in there, they'll learn how to manage their inbox, how to get their emails down to 0 every day, how to use the best practices in all of Google's tools, and they've been professionally recorded by a professional trainer, and they're all up to date literally to a couple of months ago for all of Google's latest tools. You'll see here that not only do we have training videos and a whole training curriculum, we even have a quiz and a certification process so that once your team have gone through their training, they will actually be certified by us in Google Workspace. And what that means is you should just make this part of your HR onboarding process. When you onboard a new employee, you actually bring them straight in to our classroom, you get them all trained up, and they get their little certificate, and our quiz is it's not super hard, but let's say they have to make sure that they've actually gone through the skills to pass the quiz, get their certificate, and that means that you've got team members that you know how to use the tools that you've invested in. Now, this is all completely free for customers just for billing through us. That's just our thank you for helping support our business. You don't have to sign up to Concierge. You just need to transfer your licenses to us. If you're interested in that, head along to itgenius.com/transfer. We've got a bunch of other freebies there, including free account setups and other bits and pieces if you decide to take up that offer. Now, if you're interested in getting in touch with our team, head along to itgenius.com/chat. If you have any questions, if you'd like to book a free consultation, our team are available for that as well. And anything to do with small business technology, we are sure to be able to help with. So thanks for being here. Please share this with anyone who you think it may be useful for. We would love that, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care.